Here is a math sheet we got in on February 10th for an 8th grade Braille student. This assignment had 10 simple graphs, all with pretty similar builds, which led me to the decision to make and produce through the pictures in a flash or P.I.A.F machine. For a graph, I like to insert the table, which is way easier than making the table box by box, and you also have full control over rows, columns, and the lines will be the exact sizing and any other option you want. I like to go to Arrange, Set Object Placement, and Text Wrap set to None. This way this or any object I'm using with these settings won't disturb any other objects, and makes it so much easier to work. I clear some of the visual formatting clutter for these tables, like color every other row, and use dark coloring for headers. My students prefer to set the table line thickness a lot lower than the other objects. I also insert the same height and width values so the graph squares are equal size. There are so many simple black and white objects in this library. The line arrow is perfect for building graphs and gives you a lot of useful settings, like the arrows at each end and the choices you have for them. I almost forgot another great feature for the line arrow is the ability to change from a solid, dotted, or many other variations of line. Once you create an object that you will use multiple times, you can just copy and paste once that object has been selected. Some of my students are really specific in the tactile preferences, and this particular one made the suggestion of the negative space within the arrow, which the student ended up really liking. So I always produce the arrow lines this way. Again, for the dots on the diagram, we simply are adding circles, and I like to toggle on constrained proportions in order to make it an equal and perfect circle. Again, the student here prefers a negative space circle within the circle, so I put a smaller red circle on top of the black circle to create this tactile marker. I love the group feature to select multiple objects and add them together as one. Now let's finish up by adding some Braille labels. We will add a text box, and with Swell Braille font installed, simply make the font 22 and select Swell Braille, and we have the appropriate Braille size and spacing within our text box. We will copy and paste a couple more to label the x-axis and y-axis, and we have our first graph. Since the graphs use the same base, once you have made one, it is very time effect to duplicate and make the few adjustments for the next tactile graph. Let's fire her up. I find the P.I.A.F machine works best after running for a few minutes. I also keep the intensity knob lower to start with, and then turn the knob if the lines need more height. Let's go get our diagram from the printer. Let's put the pizza in the oven and see if she cooks on the first try. It's almost there, but could use a tad more heat, so let's calibrate and run through again on pots and pans. Alright, there it is. A cooked to perfection tactile diagram. Pro tip: You could produce quick Braille by going to a site like brailletranslator.org. Select your translation and simply type or paste your text into the main box and hit Start. And there you have it. Simply copy the Braille and go back to your document, and paste it into a text box with the Swell Braille font set, and you're done.